So about a year ago now, I made a video talking about how I attached my Little Wonder push blower to my Craftsman LT2000 lawnmower. And lately that video has been blowing up, so it's prompted me to make another video about it. So what's the story behind this? Why did I come up with it? Well, the story was about a year ago I was fresh out of shoulder surgery and I needed a way to get leaves off the lawn. I had one arm in a sling, so I only had the use of 2 feet and one arm. So I came up with this hitch mechanism which allowed me to tow the push blower behind the lawnmower. And I've never looked back since. This thing works absolutely incredible, and let's just do another video about it. First thing I want to talk about is the hitch mechanism, so I'll talk a little bit about the hitch, how it connects to the tractor. Next thing I want to talk about is the tractor itself, and finally we'll turn the camera around, I'll point it out at the lawn, and I just want to show you how well it actually works. Now, one question I want to address real quick is, can you back up with this? And the answer is absolutely. You just have to be pretty skilled at backing up. Alright, first things first, I want to talk about this hitch. So there were 3 ideas behind this hitch. One, I wanted something that altered this push blower frame as minimally as possible. I wanted something that, if I really wanted to, I could remove this hitch and it would look like it was almost never there. Second thing, I know I needed something that could pivot back here to allow the push blower to kind of flow with the contours in the ground. And the third important thing is I needed to ensure that I came up with a hitch mechanism that always stayed in line with the machine and kind of stayed parallel to the frame rails. And that was important because if I didn't have anything like that, then it would be almost impossible to back this system up. So here's what I came up with. I took 2, these are like 1-inch ID pieces of pipe that I cut out, and they're like 1 inch wide. What these really are, these are actually old spacers off a Western snowplow for the shoot kit. Then I took a piece of 1-inch pipe, put that inside those 2 bushings. I'm going to call them bushings. We'll call these bushings. So yeah, just a 1-inch pipe inside those bushings. I installed cotter pins on either side of this pipe. So if I ever want to remove this hitch, I just take out these 2 cotter pins, pull it one way, twist it a little bit, and pull it out the other way, and then I can completely remove this from the machine in case I need to do engine maintenance. As for how these bushings are attached to the frame, well, everything's steel. I just, I welded them onto the frame. It's a little bit beefier than a tack. So that allows this bar to pivot. It allows it to stay in line with the frame rails, and it's removable. So I accomplished the 3 key points that I wanted to ensure when designing this hitch. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is this control rope. So what this rope does, this rope just puts a little bit of downward pressure on the handle. And I've talked about this in the past. So it'll make sense in a moment here, but when I turn the wheel on the machine, this push blower pivots on these back wheels. And as you know, there's a 3rd wheel up front. And that 3rd wheel drags a little bit. Now, I mean, 90% of the time I'm blowing on grass. You know, if you're doing this on the street all day, obviously you're going to wear out that one front tire faster. But the idea behind this control rope is it just helps to take a little bit of pressure off that front wheel, allows the machine to turn a little bit easier and just not wear down that front tire as quickly. Now, you do want to be careful if you do decide to copy my design and have a control rope here, because you want to make sure that you don't put too much downward pressure on this control rope, because the issue then becomes is the oil level in the engine on the push blower will be at a little bit of an angle. So perhaps the cylinders aren't getting lubricated as well, and you may wear out your push blower engine a little bit prematurely. But overall, I think this is a fantastic design. It's removable. It's strong enough for what it is. As for the main hitch bar right here, this is nothing special. This is just 1x2 rectangular stock. I just cut out a little quick hitch right here, and I took a bolt and a washer, so this just drops right into the hitch pin on the machine. Now, oftentimes I find myself wanting to just use the push blower itself. And how I normally handle that, with this control rope, I have a little carabiner, so I'll just clip this carabiner onto the rope itself, and that gives me enough room to comfortably push this push blower around independently. And when I want to throw it back on the machine, unclip the carabiner, drop it right back down, and in a matter of seconds I can have it hooked back up to the machine. It just makes it so versatile. Now, something important that I do want to talk about: if you're planning to only tow a push blower or a cart or anything behind your lawnmower for extended periods of time, it's a good idea to disconnect the main mower deck belt off the engine pulley. Now, the engine pulley normally is straight down off the engine, and that pulley is always spinning, and then there's just a belt that's kind of making contact with that pulley. And the way the blades engage, you push a lever up on your control panel up here, and that puts tension on the belt, and then the belt engages. But what you can actually do is you can actually have the mower deck on while you have that push blower going, and that's actually what I do probably 90% of the time. So I'm cutting the lawn. It's not nice straight lines, but I am cutting the lawn. I'm shooting the grass clippings and leaf clippings out to the side, and then the push blower takes care of the rest and sweeps it away. And now we're going to blow this section of leaves back into the woods. I am going to be fighting the wind a little bit here, but you'll see how well it works. Now, something I want you to pay attention to is when I get close to this rock wall over here, notice what I do. I'm going to back the blower up along this rock wall, push the leaves that way, and you're going to see that there's almost no need to have a backpack blower for something like this. Now, again, the key is you got to practice your backing up skills. So I don't know what you guys think, but this setup for me absolutely works phenomenally. One thing I didn't mention earlier is how do I control the throttle of the push blower? Well, the handle is close enough to the back of the seat that I can just turn around in most cases and just reach onto this throttle handle and I have no problems. Now, if the throttle handle on your machine is too far away, you can buy a throttle cable extension and maybe bolt that onto your lawnmower, maybe come up with some kind of quick release mechanism to take that throttle body off if you easily want to disconnect it from the lawnmower. But in my case, when I was designing this, I purposely designed it so that this handle is only about 4 or 5 inches away from the back of the seat, so I could easily reach back and control the throttle. Now, another thing I want to talk about is earlier I mentioned that normally 90% of the time I keep the mower deck on while I'm blowing leaves. Now, I will turn it off in some cases. If I think there's a lot of rocks or roots underneath the mower deck, I will shut it off. But one of the problems with this setup is you can only blow in one direction. The way that the mower deck shoots is the same way that the blower shoots, so it's all to my right. Now, so typically what I do is I'll blow the leaves off to one side, then I'll turn down the throttle on the blower, loop back around, I'll go back the other way, but I'll keep the mower deck on. So I still get everything mowed, and that way I'm not burning as much fuel in the push blower, if that makes sense. So I go down one pass with the mower with everything on, shut off the blower. As I'm coming back, I'll mow the width of the mower deck, and then when I turn back around again and turn the blower back on, crank this up to full throttle, and then I'm mowing my next line over and pushing everything over a little bit further. Hopefully that makes sense. It makes sense in my mind, but I just wanted to note that. But that's it for today's video. Great setup. It saved me a ton of time, a ton of energy. Just works phenomenally. Let me know what you think. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.